Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, or Four Horsemen Apocalypse from Asylum F. This movie seems to be a very low budget affair. It seems to be a lot of stock footage, some stock footage which looks very familiar to me. I think I've seen it in other movies before, but I believe this is a stock shot of the Pentagon and then cut to soundstage where a woman in general's outfit does something. So it's about the apocalypse, but this appears to be a low-budget movie. Can a low-budget movie pull off the apocalypse? We'll see. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 8. All right. The answer to that question, can a low-budget movie pull this off? My answer is no. I don't think it can. I mean, they have a very ambitious concept here, and that is, oh my God, the world is ending, and they're going to different places on Earth apparently, and they've got, I'll hand it to them, they're doing very clever sort of stock footage things, trying to make it look like they're all around the world, but this section of the movie, which they put in the trailer 2 or 3 times, appears to be in a very temperate wooded area. I'm not sure where this is. I have no idea. But that being said, it feels like they cut back to it a few times in this trailer, but that it's supposed to be different locations. But it appears to be the same woods. I'm not sure if that's true. There's all sorts of characters here who don't appear all that distinct from each other, but they're trying to save the world from something, and then at some point the CGI, and it looks, this guy, the CGI kicks in and actual horsemen of the apocalypse show up, which is weird, and there's no explanation in the trailer why. It's just, I guess, the world's ending. So they've got war, right? It's war, famine, pestilence. Instead, they replaced one with natural disaster. It's war, famine, pestilence, and death. I think that's the ones, right? I don't think there was a natural disaster horseman. I don't know why they would change it. But this looks... I mean, it looks decent. It looks like a decent CGI effect. Oh, the plague of locust. I mean, this one looks okay, too. I mean, I think that's a digital one, too. I mean, they look better. But I feel like I can kind of tell. Now, maybe not. Maybe they actually set off explosives in a lake somewhere, and I'm full of S. But it feels like these were all, effects I'd find in a high-end laptop somewhere. I think the problem with this, and there's a lot of helicopter scenes for some reason. At some point, they shoot out of the helicopter there. This is the scene of death when they kill a guy. Not exactly sure why. I mean, like, they're not fighting the actual horsemen. So, what are they doing to stop this? I don't get it. Like, the horsemen of the apocalypse, and see, this looks fake to me too. That looks really fake, and she just turns around and goes, "Run!" And this feels like, oh, okay, yeah, just go out to the access road and shoot that scene. Really, on the access road? Yeah, it's a dirt road. Nobody's gonna know where it is. And there's a lot of tight shots of people. You don't know exactly where they are, and then they cut to this again. It feels like stock footage, or footage they bought for the movie. And see, here's the woods again. See, this looks like a different scene in the woods. Now, it might be the same one, but that looks totally fake to me. This looks completely fake. I mean, it's like, oh, put a line of fire there, a line of fire there. All right, that's good. No, it's not the way you should have done it. It doesn't look real. No, doesn't look real to me. Now again, this might be real. just may look fake. Sometimes that happens. You shoot a scene and you shoot it live, quote unquote. You shoot an actual fire or an actual explosion or actual this or actual that, and it just looks fake. It just, for whatever reason, it just comes off too clean, or there's some weird thing that makes it look like it's, you could see a seam or a line or something, and it just happens to be in the shot, So I'm not accusing these guys of anything. It's also labeled as an action movie. This isn't what I would call an action movie. I mean, it's a disaster movie, meaning that I'm sorry, that doesn't look good to me. Meaning that it's not an action movie. To me is like Jackie Chan makes action movies. It's when guys are fighting, when you get a lot of fights. That's an action movie because it's like physical action. See, that looks fake to me. Right there, the lightning bolt, that looks totally put on, photoshopped on. To me, an action movie wouldn't be the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. An action movie would be like Jackie Chan or something. That to me is action, like physical action of people physically fighting. Even this, like in a bigger budget movie, you would see beyond this window. You'd see like sky, and you'd see like the ground coming up at him or whatever's happening in this scene. So this feels cheap to me. It feels cheap. So I'm just not buying this whole thing. I don't know what they're doing. I can't even break it down into acts. I mean, I guess the first act, they find out the world's ending. For some reason, disasters keep happening. They're going to plant explosives on a volcano at some point. I guess it's in the second act. They decide the volcano is going to destroy the world, so they're going to plant explosives to put it, collapse it or whatever. And then the third act, they beat the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse somehow. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, the only way you can make this movie is if you summon the Four Horsemen, right? You summon the Four Horsemen, and they're kind of like demons from hell, and you summon them, and now they have to be stopped, and then they have goals, and if they achieve those goals, the world ends, and if they don't, they have to go back to hell or wherever they're from. So there should be something probably supernatural that sets this off. It doesn't seem to be established in the trailer. So I guess things just start happening, and then they say, oh, it's the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And then, I mean, how do you beat them? If they just show up one day, like nobody summoned them, it's just the world's ending. It feels like a natural end to the world then at that point. Well, the Four Horsemen are here, we're screwed now. Like, I don't think in the Bible or wherever the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are mentioned. Is it in the Bible? Is that a Bible thing? It sounds like a Bible thing. That I don't think there's a formula for beating them. I don't think you challenge them to a chess match and send them back. It's over at that point. They come and it's everyone dies. What's the plan here? I don't see the plan for the movie. I just see a bunch of elements, and they're not awful elements. And the CGI isn't helping. Look, you can't do this on the cheap. You just can't. Maybe if you had thrown some supernatural elements in that were a little more prominent, you could then explain away the look. But you could say, well, it's supernatural. That's why it looks weird. It's supernatural. Not that, this is the end of the world. Like, just saying the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse just suddenly show up. Like, how are you supposed to stop them? There should be a scene of guys looking at an ancient book here. That, to me, would help the movie. That someone summoned them, or they find an ancient book that says, oh, this happened once before, and here's how you beat the Four Horsemen, and then they do that. Something like that. I don't know. It just seems like this is the kind of low-budget movie that... I mean, it's not a bad premise. End of the World's a good premise. Is it an action movie? Yeah, if you got like amazing stunts going on. You could call the Fast and Furious an action movie. Here, there's just a bunch of set pieces here. A lot in helicopters for some reason. This is not action. Out in the woods, I don't know, testing the ground. That's not an action scene. Where are the guys punching each other? There's a guy stabbing a dude. This is kind of action. This is she just looks uncomfortable in that still, right? Like, ew, he's shooting a gun. Ew, it's so loud. But yeah, I don't like to knock low budget affairs because I root for low budget guys. I want them to do well, but it infuriates me when they have, they they have a screenplay here that they either couldn't do. That doesn't look too bad. I don't know where that is. I guess it's a military base somewhere. Okay, here's Pestilence. That's got to be Pestilence. That's him. Yeah, you could show these guys a little more, maybe. If you're gonna do, your CGI isn't the best. So if your CGI isn't the best, you might as well show the monsters a little more. Give us a taste of what we're gonna see in this thing. You barely show the Four Horsemen. You don't even show them all together, really. And that's just no good. What is happening here? Does the guy against the pillar look like a guy who's being stabbed? Now, this guy looks like he's stabbing a guy. He's like totally psychotic. This guy looks even more psychotic. He should be like, like that, right? I would think. I don't know, man. Four Horsemen. It's called Four Horsemen Apocalypse. It should be Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Why did you rename it that? Now, maybe they already took that name, and that's why. So, I wouldn't knock it, but I would have called it, again, I would have called it something else. I don't know. You could have just called it the Four Horsemen. People know what the Four Horsemen are, if they know anything about this. You either know this or you don't. This is one of those things. Either you know what the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are, or you just have no idea. Okay? So you could have just called it the Four Horsemen. You could have even called it just the Horsemen. I would have gone the other way, maybe. Apocalypse, the Horseman cometh, or something like that. I don't know. But this feels like a B movie that, is there any credits? No. Feels like a B movie. Again, a hotel movie. You'd watch in a hotel, and if you had to duck out in the middle of it, at the climax of this thing, and we got to go to dinner. All right, whatever. You just shut it right off and never worry about seeing the ending of this. That's what it feels like to me. I'm sorry. I hate that. I feel like I'm knocking the guys when they're down. They probably worked really hard on the movie, but you gotta just come on. There's tight shots in the helicopter. How many of them are you gonna do? There needed to be a scene. This guy is funny. There needed to be a scene of these guys fighting the Four Horsemen, and it's not here. Or they saved it for the movie. But what are you saving it for the movie? On a low budget flick like this, you gotta put at least one hot scene in this. And are these the hottest scenes you have? Come on, we need to see the Four Horsemen come in on real horses, and you gotta have 4 actors dressed in costume, right? Are you telling me they're all CGI and we don't even get to see them up close? I don't know. So yeah, this movie, it's just not gonna work, in my view. Okay, it's just not gonna work. At best, I think this would be like a B movie you'd watch. You'd put it on with your friends and you'd make fun of it. This will be on Mystery Science Theater 3000 or whatever they're calling themselves these days. I think they're called riff tracks now. This seems like perfect riff track fodder. Not quite Sharknado, but a movie where the effects aren't quite there, and the characters are being super serious because it's the end of the world, but they're not. Not everything's quite there. I mean, they're trying to act. This guy seems like a good actor. I'm not knocking them. Okay, I hate to knock an actor. I mean, they try. You know, it's not his fault if the screenplay sucks, or the directing's not there, or they just don't have the effects. He thought they'd be good. I'm sure. I've been in stuff. I'm in a music video where they do some effects. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it like at the beginning of June, I think. So I'll point you to it once it's on YouTube, where they do effects on me. So, and then you could all make fun of my acting. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. I'm gonna get back to my own apocalypse. That is my life. If you would like to see me, I will be at. This is my calendar up here. I will be at the Medford, New Jersey Art Festival, the art and craft show, this weekend, Saturday. Rain or shine. It's a definite. There's no rain date on this, so pray for sun. I think it's going to be sunny. I think I'm okay. So come by on Saturday. I'll have the Pineys, and we'll see you tomorrow.